Truth, where illumined minds meet. There is only one truth. Quest Series 5, Video Number 1, presented by the Paul Brunton Philosophic Foundation. If Jesus could have met Buddha, the differences in their teaching would not have prevented their delighted recognition of one another for what each was. They did not speak from different levels of being, they spoke from different levels of intellect. Their realization of the truth was one and the same, for there is only one truth, and hence only one true illumination. But there are various degrees of its reception. They could only communicate it to others according to the intellectual equipment, degree, and background of its receivers. This truth is still valid in the conditions of today, which are so different. Otherwise, it would not be truth. But the form of expressing it may well be different. We are the fortunate inheritors of the results gathered by past thinkers, and we are now called to complete the circle and formulate a finished system of philosophy. Knowledge has grown by analysis, but shall finish by synthesis. This knowledge is going to crystallize in the new East-West philosophy, which will formulate a finished system of philosophy which shall stand good for all time. God is in your very being. To know God as something apart or far away in time and distance, or as an object outside yourself, separate from you, that is not the way. That is impossible. The kingdom of heaven is within you, the sublime Jesus told his hearers. Look within. Thou art Buddha, the great Gautama revealed to his more mature disciples. There can be no doubt that Buddha, like Jesus, wanted to reach the populace. First, he went to extraordinary, most unusual lengths to repeat his teachings from different aspects, so as to make his meaning clearer. Second, he recommended his monks to use the ordinary dialects of simple people whenever they preached doctrines which were both complex and subtle in themselves and needed simplification anyway. Jesus called people to life more abundant. Buddha called them to cessation of desire. Jesus opened up the mysteries to the masses of the Western continent and gave to the many what had hitherto been given only to the chosen few. Buddha did precisely the same for the masses of the Asiatic continent. These pair of lights gave 3/4 of the human race these sorely needed ideals. Buddha swore an oath under the sacred banyan tree, where he came to know his true nature, that he would not pass from our sphere of evolution until he had been reborn again and again to help laggard humanity reach what he himself had reached. Jesus also keeps ever in inner contact with those who need him, and that means millions. He is not dead, cannot die. His noble life inspires sensitive people as few lives have done. The benign sayings of Jesus afford them matter for heartfelt ethical reflection, and the terrible sufferings of Jesus have taught his weaker kindred how to bear their own personal misfortunes with strength, courage, and dignity. Buddha knew, Jesus knew, that what was true for himself was true for all. When you no longer look only to the established tradition offered you by others, but also and more deeply into your own inner consciousness, you are then following the way pointed to by Jesus and Buddha and Lao Tzu, for this is how and where the soul reveals itself. The present concern, then, is not with exoteric religions, which are all, without exception, in their period of decay and dissolution. It is with esoteric knowledge, the knowledge which was possessed by Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna alike, and secretly taught to their closest disciples. How then and where shall we worship? Let us seek the timeless power which transcends the centuries. Let us utter no word but fall into silence, for here the voice of the little ego's thoughts is an insult. Let us go where Jesus advised, deep inside the heart. For we carry the truth within ourselves, yet how few know it, and bear the closest of ties with that power in consciousness itself. However, it is necessary to develop the power of sustained concentration. Even if one sees the truth, one must get the power to stay in the truth and to be established in it. Let the mind be still and know the truth. Quotes were taken from the notebooks of Paul Brunton, volumes 1, 2, 12, 13, and 16. Paul Brunton, 1898 to 1981, a best-selling British author of a dozen books, spent much of his early life researching the original sacred teachings of Western and Eastern spiritual traditions. He traveled the world to discover and communicate with Christian, Kabbalistic, Vedantic, Buddhist, Taoist, indigenous, and Sufi masters. Blending the richness of his own spiritual experience and inquiry with these ancient and contemporary teachings, he developed a philosophy and path of practice that suits life in the 21st century, one that expresses the greatest wisdom and love available to humankind. Regardless of how it is named, we each have a divine soul, an overself or higher self, that is with us here and now, waiting to be realized. Paul Brunton's writings are a source of deep spiritual guidance for all those interested in living a divinely inspired life.